All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Brad and Taylor, and this is Firewood at the Furnace. This is your very first Fridays video today. So we talked on the live stream last week about maybe possibly doing a couple videos a week. Well, I had a lot of thoughts about that, and I came to a conclusion that I think we're going to add one video per month, which will be on the first Fridays, which is today. Plus you're going to get a live stream once a month now, so that's 2 more videos a month, and we'll see where that takes us, see how that works out, see if you all are still enjoying watching the videos, and see how it goes as far as making contact on my end. So if that works out well, we'll step it up again, but I felt like that was a good compromise to start doing a first Fridays video, a Thirsty Thursdays live stream, and we'll get you 2 more videos a month for extra content. Well, as you can see, we're covered in a blanket of snow here today, and Taylor's off of school. It was supposed to be their first day back to school after their winter Christmas break, but the snow came right on time, so they got to extend their break a little bit. Today we got to get some wood piles covered up. I'm late to the game. I got some of them started, but they all weren't done, and now some of them have a blanket of snow on top. Taylor's holding the broom. We're going to show you why and how we cover the firewood stacks today, so stick around. So I showed you a couple weeks ago how I'm covering row 3 with the metal roofing, and I didn't have enough to do all of my firewood. So we got most of row 3 done. I've got a couple more pieces down at the bottom that I'm going to bring up to finish covering row 3 with the roofing metal. Taylor's up here sweeping off the top of the firewood. She's doing a great job. You all thought I was the trooper, but Taylor, she's certainly a trooper. She's always around to help me out. So she's going to get the rest of this swept off. We'll get some of that other roofing metal up here and get this covered. And then for row 4, we're going to have to resort to plastic again. But I've got a different game plan for my plastic covering this year, and I'm going to show you all that too. Get my gloves on. I'll let you all watch Taylor sweep off the wood while I walk down here and get a couple sheets of roofing metal. All right, so that's all the roofing metal we have. Pretty much got row 3 done. We're gonna put some weight on it, put some screws in it. But now I'm gonna come over here to row 4. Taylor's gonna start sweeping these stacks off, and I'll show you what we're gonna do with plastic a little different this year. Doing a good job. Luckily it's light fluffy snow, not wet heavy snow.
Yeah, at least good right now because it doesn't like pack.
Yep. All right, get that other side, and then we'll get started on the covers. So while Taylor's working her way up this row on this side, I figured I'd talk to you a little bit while she's getting that done about why we cover the firewood and what the different options are for covering your firewood. Pros and cons as far as I'm concerned. Now, this is only my opinion. There's a lot of different opinions out there, but for what it's worth, this is my theory and my way of thinking on covering your firewood. I've seen some people that cover their entire stack, tops, sides, front, back, and I don't think that's a good option at all. And the reason I say that is because when you cover the entire stack of firewood, you take away one of the three, actually two of the three elements that's needed to season and dry your wood. You take away wind and you take away sun. Sun, wind, and time are all the things that you need to dry your firewood. And if you cover your entire stack, when you have cold nights and warmer days, that creates condensation, creates water vapor inside your covering, and that water has no way to dry out or escape. And you know what condition that creates? You end up with mold on your firewood. Now, for those of you that cover your entire stacks, if you have good luck with it, more power to you. I think that's great. If that's what works for you, that's what works for you. My way of thinking is that in the wintertime, supposed to be before the snow flies, but I'm a little late to the game today, but we're going to get it done. You cover the tops of your firewood. That way you can still get sun on both sides of the stacks. You can still get air circulation and wind blowing through the stacks. But you keep the tops of the firewood from getting covered with snow. And then depending on what your weather situation is, that snow may lay on top, freeze, melt, freeze, melt, freeze, melt several times over the course of weeks or even a month or so. So that moisture and that water laying on top of the wood for that length of time, I don't think is good. So we keep the moisture off the top of the wood and still allow the wind to circulate through. The other option is you don't cover your wood at all. Some people say that works well too. I guess it depends on what your climate is, what your weather conditions are, and what your experience is. If it works for you, like I said, whatever works for you, that's what you should do. But this seems to be what's working for me, so this is why we're doing it this way. Cover the tops only, just for the snow season through the winter. Summertime, when it's hot and the sun's out all day, we leave them open. If we get a shower or a thunderstorm that comes through, it's all dried out the very following day. So we only cover the tops in the wintertime. That's my way of thinking. Taylor's almost here, so we're going to get started showing you how I'm going to use the plastic this year. All right, so the way I'm going to do this year with the plastic is different from what I did last year. Last year I cut individual sections of plastic that covered each third of a cord or face cord, 8.5 foot long or so by 2 foot wide, and I had about 60 or 80 different little pieces of plastic. And when the wind blew and when it came time to clean all that up, I had plastic everywhere. I had to fold each one of those little pieces up. They're stacked over there. I still have them to use again, but I didn't really think that method worked all as well as I wanted it to. So this year what I did is I still have the gap between the firewood here, and we've talked a little bit on the live stream about putting my stacks 3 wide so that I can get a full cord of wood in each section. I'm still debating that, but I like having the air gap so the wind can circulate through here. But what I did this year was I bought a 4 foot wide section of plastic. I cut it in half. So now I've got 2 2-foot wide rolls. And now that I'm using these pallets as dividers, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll a continuous section of plastic up the row. And if you come over here, I'll show you. Here's the 2 foot wide sections of plastic. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it here on each row. I've got some furring strips that I'm going to put over top of each pallet on each section of plastic, and we're going to run screws down through here, run it to the next pallet, run screws down through there, and then in the middle I'll put a couple sections of scrap wood. So I'm hoping that'll work out better. We're going to set the camera up on the tripod. Taylor's going to get out here and start helping me. We're going to run these 2 sections of plastic up and drive some screws in and see how this works. Show them what we got going on there, Tay.
So the 2 plastic rolls on each stack of wood, and then it's the end is underneath the piece of wood, and we're getting ready to screw some screws into the wood.
So we'll make sure the plastic overlaps on both sides of the wood just a little bit. We don't need to put a whole lot. I'm probably going to put 4 screws, 1 on each side of each roll. So that'll hold that down. Taylor and I will start rolling each roll down until we get to the next pallet. Probably gonna have to put a couple pieces of wood on the middle as we go. Yeah. Does that snow taste good? All right, so the plastic's on. The wind is blowing it around a little bit, but we got plenty of scrap wood down here, and we're gonna put some weight on top of it, but I think that'll work good, especially with the furring strips over top the plastic. Those pallet dividers come in handy. That way I don't need to screw anything directly to the firewood, and we'll see how this works. Tell me what you think. Let's get some weight on top. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the very first Friday's video. We'll still have video content every Wednesday morning, just like normal. But on the first Friday of the month, you'll get an extra video, plus our live stream, like I mentioned before, once a month as well. So we got all the firewood stacks covered today. Taylor did a great job helping me as usual. She got all the tops swept off, was a big help getting the covers on, getting the plastic rolled out. She even ran the impact gun there for me and drove some screws. We got screws drove down through the metal on the other row, got weight on all the stacks, so I'm fingers crossed we should be good to go now. Everything's covered. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you all have a great week. Stay warm, and we'll see you next time.